old man got the tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
All right, here we are. It's dude, that was so funny because we were having Parm and Tony and I were having a whole conversation about the Acolyte and all this stuff, and I'm sitting here going, "Hey, we're gonna talk about this live. We can't just like have this whole conversation without going live." So I'm glad, I'm glad we were able to get on. But Tony, Parm, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Friday. It's nice.
Not
It
too
does
bad.
help.
Mm.
It's quick though. These weeks are flying by.
I know, dude. I know. And it's good to get back on with you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
There's some interesting collectibles and stuff to talk about, which will be fun. We have the new Sideshow Kenobi. They showed the full statue, the premium format. That looks great.
Yeah, I saw that.
We've got the PCS mall to talk about. We've got a couple things. We had some things from Regal Robot to chat about. So yeah, there's some things. I think first what we're going to do is we're going to just discuss collections, like where everyone's at, which I don't think will take very long. I don't think there's a whole lot going on. And then we're going to chat some Acolyte stuff and just the whole backlash and all that crap. So, cool. Well, why don't we start in on Parma? Anything new for you?
The only thing that came in since we last spoke, I think when I mentioned last time that my Wampa was on its way.
That's
it
right.
was stuck in customs for a little while, so that finally arrived from Regal Robot. And,
how do you like it?
Yeah, it's beautiful, mate. It's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, in hand, like a lot of Tom stuff, it's just exudes quality and cool. Detail, and I love it. Yeah, really, really cool.
Is it larger than you thought? Is it like this? Like what?
No, it's about the size that I thought. I mean, I can pull it out here.
Yeah,
it's just literally right next to me. I mean, it's
wow.
pretty big.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Yeah, that's big, mate. That's really big.
I'm not very big.
So she says.
It's sizable, man.
Could do this right, like pretend we're doing the whole thing. Like
yeah,
yeah, that's it. That's amazing.
For you, Parm. No,
it's really cool. Yeah, I love it. I mean,
so is like the hair like a waxed type of like?
It's matted down.
Okay.
It's matted down. It's like I don't know how to describe it. I mean, it's finer than the hair on Chewbacca.
Yeah.
But it's all matted down and it's got like snow effects on it.
That's crazy.
And actually, when you get it out of the box, there's not a lot of futzing you can do. You can fluff it up a little bit, but it's quite hard to kind of separate the fibers from each other. So, but I'm really pleased with it.
What's the because he's put some not weathering, dirt and stuff and grime on the fur. Does that show up?
It's yellow, yeah. So there are lots of tones of yellow on it, particularly under the chin, just here.
Yeah,
that's quite. Again, you probably can't see it because of the lighting, but
yeah.
But in daylight, you really do see the details.
Parm, do you like how the hair sits on the base?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it is in the archives, right? I mean, it's right. Kind of, yeah. So I don't mind that at all. I'm actually glad it came like this, because if it came on a stand like Chewbacca, I would have needed extra height on my display, and that would have meant it would have probably been a bit more difficult. So love it. Yeah.
How are you rating that then, Palm? So you've got quite a few of the his legacy pieces.
So I mean, in terms of the kind of the bigger 1-to-1 and prop pieces, so I've got Chewbacca, Salacious, the Tusken bust, and this Wampa now, and obviously I've got some of the maquettes. I'd say it's second to Chewbacca.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I'd probably put him above Salacious.
Fantastic.
Really like it. Yeah, really pleased with it.
Yeah, that's great.
Looks great.
How about
anybody getting that in is going to be
anything new?
Absolutely nothing.
That's great.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. It's I think this year I've only had. I've only had 3 things come in. I think it's a maquette from Regal, and I think you've just picked these up. The badges from Lowland Props. How do you like those? Yeah, I love them. Yeah,
they're
really nice, really
Really
nice. And then the other one was the A-wing from John, which me and Palm picked up a model each a couple of months ago. But nothing. Yeah, I'm jealously looking at Palm's Wampa, and I'm still paying mine off. So that's gonna be a few months, but I'm really looking forward to that. That's one of the really big pieces that I've bought this year, and that's why I haven't really been picking anything else up.
Yeah, it was an expensive piece.
Yeah,
it's still, I just don't have the funds and
I get it.
All the room. So
I get that.
I managed to sell some stuff.
Good.
When I was on last time, everything had not sold at all, but I've sold 2 statues.
Good.
Hot toys, so stuff's starting to move, and then that.
I do feel like things are turning a little bit on that side of things. Like, I do feel like things are getting a little bit better for the sales side of things.
I struggled to sell stuff, but I did eventually sell the stuff that I also had on sale. So at the moment, I don't have. I think I've got one thing still left on sale, but I think stuff's selling, but not at the price you kind of really want it to.
Yeah.
A while ago you could have made a decent amount of profit. Now you're pretty much selling it for what you bought it for. If you're lucky, right? So which is still okay, because I mean, at the end of the day,
crazy.
if you can sell it for what you paid,
sure,
for it, that's good, right? As long as you don't make a loss.
I say this all the time. Like, if I enjoy a piece for a certain amount of time, I've gotten my use out of it, and it's fine. Like, I'm totally fine with it.
It's a used piece by then, right? So anywhere else, something used, unless it's a vintage watch or something like that, is gonna depreciate. So actually, if you can make the money that you put into it, then that's not a bad thing at all. I think we got used to a cycle of actually stuff going up in value quite a bit, and I think those days, other than some grail pieces, I think those days are a long one,
dude. So it's funny, I talked to Jason about this quite a bit, that I got out of Hot Toys at the perfect time. Like I love Hot Toys, they're great, they just didn't work in my collection when I started getting into like statues and other things. And so I got out of them at the perfect time, because it was like that's when they were going gangbusters. Like that's when you could just, Tarkin, all that stuff was.
And that was before they did double dipped in releases as well.
It was crazy.
I made good money on my prequels Hot Toys. I mean, they even I think I sold them last year, and they actually paid for my Tuscan, and they still went for a good amount. And actually now they're probably selling for less than what I sold them for. But I think the only ones that actually the only figure that I probably made a loss on was the Shore Trooper, the original Shore Trooper, which at one point was like the only at one point incredibly rare.
At one point
I missed the boat.
Way up there. That's the thing. Like I was able to do well on that. I was able to do well on like the Rogue One figures. Some of this.
They sold really well, didn't they?
Man, they sold like crazy.
K2SO. Yeah, that was a.
And at that time, it was also like when you put something up, it was gone. Yeah. Like it didn't matter what the price was, it just gone. And now it's just not like that. So, but at least things are starting to sell again, and I'm glad you guys are getting
that's good.
Sold
that because when you're using the collection to fund stuff, that kind of that definitely helps. Right. Because otherwise it gets a bit stressful, because you don't want to be dipping elsewhere.
It's really, it's really good just to slow down as well. I mean, this is the first year I've had where, not that I collect loads and loads of stuff, but just there was a regular stream of stuff coming in. Now I'm just enjoying the collection more. I'm enjoying what I've got.
Good.
I'm curating it, I suppose. I've still got some pieces I want to get rid of that aren't original trilogy, but I'm just taking my time. I don't feel I've got to jump on everything. The Regal stuff's obviously really, really tempting. But outside of that, I'm not really. Hot Toys, the odd OT one maybe, but they're not really releasing too many OT figures anyway. So I'm just really like you, Matt, enjoying my collection rather than just, and that's what it's about.
Good.
And
I would say I'm in an interesting place, because I'm starting to like I have a shelf over here that has Star Wars stuff. I have a shelf obviously over here that has Star Wars stuff on it. So I'm starting to think I might try to cull some things down. I mean, I've been doing that. I've been like kind of like selling a couple things here and there, but then I might try to get things more on this side of like Star Wars stuff on this side. And then I'm thinking about opening up this section here that has lights for the Masters pieces, the Masters Universe pieces that I want to put up.
Oh yeah.
I was starting to think about it, and I was like, the thing I don't want to have Star Wars as all Star Wars and then just a couple random like Masters Universe pieces. And that's like, they're so bright and colorful that it's like maybe the only thing you look at. Right. So I'm kind of thinking if I can put those in an actual display section, like proper, then maybe I can put Star Wars on its own side, or maybe, I don't know. I got to think about it some more, but
I think that's one of the hardest things to do is mixing IP, particularly in the same room. I think it can be done. It's just difficult to do.
Yeah.
Like you say,
well,
you got to balance it out.
Yeah. The good thing though, Parm, is that I started to think about this, and I had to really come to grips with the reality. And the reality is no one gives a shit.
True.
The reality is nobody comes in my room and cares
Yeah.
what I do. And so that's why I started to realize, like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter what I do in my room. Nobody's going to give a shit what I do. And so, like, I never have people come over and be like, oh, wow, like, how cool is this? Like, nobody cares. Right. And so ultimately, I just need to kind of like be happy with how I want to set my room up. And that's where I need to be. Right. And so, and I think a change would be kind of nice personally. Just a little bit of a change, nothing crazy, but
and there is some stuff from other IP which is really, really tempting. You know,
stuff.
Sure. I mean, J&D are doing some really, really cool stuff, and I think is it ECC? They did a life-size ET, didn't they? I think they're doing a third scale ET, and I mean, there's certain things which, you know, from my childhood, you know, original Superman, original ET, they mean just as much to me as Star Wars does. I don't really have. They don't have any. I don't have anything in my collection, and you know, it's a rabbit hole, of course, if I decide to go down that road. But it would be awesome just to have something, you know, from those lines. But again, where do you display it?
No, and that's the thing. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm a huge like. There's other things, right? And so, I just really, I don't know why Jason's calling me on Facebook. Like, why is he calling me on Facebook? Hold on one second. What is going on?
Okay,
Jason, is that you? Listen to this guy. What is going on, dude? He's got all kinds of things. He's supposed to be on right now. I don't know what's happening. Hopefully, Cece. I think Cece's in the chat. Cece, if you can get a hold of Jason, try to get him on. That would be fantastic. Because I have no idea where he's at or what he's got going on. I know he's busy, but and Cece was trying to get on, I think, at some point today. She's at work, I think. So we'll see if that happens or not. It's kind of a tough situation. We wanted to do something soon, but we knew that Nathan wasn't able to get on. There's a couple other people that were like, so we're trying to figure out what to do. But anyway, we're good. We're good. So yeah, anyway, that's my collection. My collection's kind of shifting and changing a little bit. So I'm happy with it. I'm kind of happy where it's going. Oh, there's Jason. Good. That's what I was wondering. Hey, there he is.
Hey, fellas.
Hey,
did you call me on Messenger?
Must have been by accident, man.
Okay, I was like, what is happening? Good. I'm glad you're on.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Jay.
Jay, we were just talking about our collections. I just mentioned my randomness. Do you want anything new for you at all, or?
Yeah, actually, a few things are new. As always, working on some projects. Was able to work with Matteo over at the Super Green Props on a couple of stunt hilts that I've been adding to my collection, including the more recent one, the Luke, A New Hope stunt, which I'm pretty excited about. And I got a few pieces from a recent auction.
So, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot to mention that. That's cool.
So looking forward to that. I'll probably wait to show pictures until they come in. I want to do like a QC check and everything on them, but pretty excited about some of the pieces I got.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think a couple of the pieces you got are going to be really, really cool. So
yeah.
I mean, that was an interesting experience for you, Jason, because I think we were chatting and you were bidding.
Yeah, like
we were on the phone talking, and he was bidding on these things, and I was like, "What are you doing?" But you were also saying do you know what other things went for? Like, what was some more interesting pieces and what actually it was a heritage auction?
It was Julian's. It was a Julian's. Yep. Actually, so kind of the Heritage and Julian's sort of ran tandem with Heritage finishing first. And I kind of missed that one. There was a few things I had some absentee bids on. And I was a little bummed out because what I had as an absentee bid versus what they ended up wasn't too far off. And I felt like they were really good deals for what they were. Recently, I've been trying to go after some Andor and Rogue One pieces, right?
Yeah.
And as I shrink down my collection of some of the mass-produced stuff, I've been going after more and more, production, screen use, lineage, etc. I've kind of been in that direction for about a year now, but I haven't really bought anything. I haven't done too much other than working on pieces. So it was nice to just get my feet wet again. And so what had happened was they kind of combined just a bunch of randomness. Prop store usually has a little bit of like a consistency to their auctions. I mean, Parm, we watch a lot of them. We talk about a lot of them. So they'll sort of be a format, right? Well, this was just kind of like, they called it disco something, whatever. Basically just kind of like this Hollywood pop iconology category, which kind of covered, a variation of IPs. And they had everything from Andor to Rogue One to The Force Awakens, etc., and then even some vintage OT stuff. Well, I noticed the way they put the pieces in line was they put all the vintage OT stuff first, right? Like small little maquettes and things like that. The little mini, that picture we always see, the little teeny tiny AT-AT, like the size of a quarter. That one for some crazy money. Prototype AT-AT head. So some of the other pieces.
How much did the tiny AT-AT go for?
I went for a decent sum.
Did it?
For the size, yeah. I went for.
I mean, shit, for that tiny size, you're like.
I mean, it's like
that's crazy.
It's like a micro machine.
That's crazy, dude.
It is. And then they had like an A-wing maquette again, probably like just a couple inches yay big. But what was good about that is you saw so many people rushing for that like I was after, as a fan of the Kylo Ren design. I like Kylo Ren despite the movies, like The Force Awakens, but they had a production helmet, the smash drum, when he bangs it up against the wall. And it went for a great price. It went for like pennies on the dollar, considering. I checked with a few people beforehand to make sure like it was 100% kosher, and everybody that I reached out to gave me the thumbs up. So I grabbed that, couple of Kylo Hilt pieces, got an Andor piece, and then something else I'm still waiting to sort of clarify. I've talked to a few people over the last week, had some in-depth conversations. Still not 100% sure, but gonna wait till that comes in and I physically handle it in hand before I discuss it, because it could be possibly an interesting, important piece, or it could not be.
I was saying that he needs to take that Kylo helmet and cast it and actually make like a couple copies of that. That'd be freaking awesome.
I think I'm going to. It's just a matter of being able to find somebody I can trust, but I might do a small run of them. Yeah,
that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool.
It's just an interesting piece. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah,
I think it's the right. That's probably where the money is, really, isn't it? Because the OT stuff just goes for a stupid amount now. Whereas if you look at even some of the prequel stuff is now starting to sell for really big money, particularly the stunt hilts and the main character, pieces.
And Parm, there's not as much prequels. I mean, a lot of the prequel stuff's CG, and you know what I mean.
But so also, I think a lot of the prequel stuff's probably still in the hands of Lucasfilm.
They still have
a lot of the OT stuff
thrown out,
pilfered. Thrown out, pilfered.
People took it like I think Parm's right. A lot of people made an extra head.
At that point, they were finally taking it seriously, and
they were also making so little then, right? Picture like $5 an hour. You're going in, you're doing your job. Some of them don't even remember what they were working on. They had so much to do. So having extra pieces, making backups, that was normal, and that's kind of what's finding its way into the to the environments now. But what's good about some of the later stuff is that they didn't make a ton of it, but it's still production, it's still screen, because like with the prequel, although a lot of it's in the hands of Lucasfilm, we also know just from talking to people that they made so many. Like there's people like, oh, look at my Obi-Wan hair braid, and there's like a box of thousands of them that they like made. Doesn't mean it's not screen used or production made, but they made everything in copious amounts just to be safe or sure to have access to it for any reason. Including some stunt pieces, those carbon blades. I remember when I got one of the first Obi-Wan carbon blades, I was all excited, and then I found out that there was literally hundreds of them during production, like hundreds, and I was like, all right, it's not that exciting anymore, But getting some unique Kylo stuff was fun, and it was inexpensive, and even some of the stuff from Andor, like fully realized screen use props for pretty cheap. I mean, for the price of a Regal Robot piece,
right?
You know,
cool. That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that's awesome, Jay. I'm glad you were able to jump on that kind of stuff. That's really neat. And I'm sure we'll get an update when you actually get them in hand and all that stuff. So, but yeah, anyway, that's great, guys. I'm glad the collections are going well. So the big thing I wanted to chat about before we talked about some of these other collectible things is the Acolyte, the whole Acolyte backlash, and just the interesting. I mean, it's not surprising. Star Wars fans are the worst ever.
Yeah.
Like, they're just the worst. I just feel like, you know, nothing's ever good enough, and nothing ever is what people want it to be in their head. You know, they have this certain idea of what they want Star Wars to be, and it's never that. And so they get pissed. And anyway, I wanted to chat about the Acolyte situation. So I'm sure, Jason, I don't know if you've seen it at this point yet. Have you?
I haven't seen it. No.
Okay. So Jason hasn't seen it yet. He's going to at some point, but we've, you know, Parm, Tony, you guys are caught up. I'm sure. I'm caught up. I don't get it. And I'm very, I told Jason, I'm very critical to like bad acting, bad sets, bad, you know, I mean, I work for the most part in the industry. I don't shoot narrative stuff, but at the same time, I've been around a lot of sets and I've been around a lot of this stuff. I know what I don't like, and this isn't that bad. I'm sorry. Like, I don't feel like I'm watching the Book of Boba Fett. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I'm watching, trying to think of what else. Like, well, first of all, okay, one of the things I really can't stand, and this is coming from people like Star Wars Theory, there's some other people that are kind of echoing this, is, you know, the whole bad act, you know, it's like the actors are horrible and the writing's horrible and all this stuff. And I just have a hard time with this because it's coming from people that are, especially like Star Wars, someone like Star Wars Theory. He's a prequelist. He's someone that loves the prequels.
Yeah.
How can you say that when you love the prequels like you do? And I know time is a healer of all things, right? And so I get that there's a lot of time in between those things. It's something he grew up with, so it changes the way he views it. But and other people too. But there's no better example of bad acting, bad writing, bad directing than episodes 1, 2, and 3. 3 is much better. 3 is much better, and I think I actually enjoy 3 a lot. I watch all of them. But it's still really bad. There's times where I can't watch episode 1. I can't watch the kid. I can't watch him. I have to speed through him. I can't watch him. He's so bad. There's times in the Attack of the Clones I can't watch. Like, I just can't. It's just so bad. It's so poorly written. It's so poorly directed. I was telling this to Jason the other day. I don't think I've ever seen Natalie Portman as bad an actress as in Star Wars. Like, she's not a bad actress, but she was horrifying in Star Wars. She was horrible. So like, I hear this from people, but I don't see like a way of like critically thinking through it and going, yeah, there's other places in Star Wars where we've seen bad acting and bad writing and other things. Book of Boba Fett, same thing. You're not going to like everything. Not everything is going to be perfect, but I also don't look at the Acolyte and see that. I don't see all of those problems. Some of the actors are
pretty good in the Acolyte. Some of the actors I think have done an incredible job.
I really like the Asian dude, the main guy. Yeah. He was in Squid Games. Was he in Squid Game?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
I really like him a lot. I like the girl that was in she was in Logan. She was that crazy little girl in Logan. She's one of the Jedi, the apprentice or whatever. I like her. There's other people that I think are pretty solid in this. And I like the idea of having a different type of show. It's kind of like a whodunit, like it's almost like a murder mystery. Like it's interesting. At least there's an interesting take on it. And it's a different time, right? It's a different era, right? So it's interesting to see that. But I'm personally, which maybe this helps, I'm not like a canon nut. or a canon nerd or something, like I don't go so hardcore on that stuff to where I'm like, well, like Kiadi-Mundi doesn't look like whatever, like who gives a shit, right? Like, I don't care. That doesn't bother me when I'm watching this stuff. So
it doesn't hurt the storytelling. Yeah,
it doesn't to me. And maybe it does for other people. And I can understand that for other people, but it doesn't for me. And so like, I'm just trying to understand the backlash. The whole, like, I don't, I hate to get into this dive, but the whole woke situation just pisses me off. I can't with that shit. Like look at the world around you. Look at the world you live in. And if you can't see that we live in a diverse, multicultural, multi-religion, like thought world, you're freaking a lunatic is what I think. And I've said this to Jason multiple times in the past, like probably months, even talking about this, but talking about other things. When people get mad about artists putting some sort of agenda or some sort of an idea into their work, help me understand going back thousands of years when that hasn't happened. When has that not happened? Like when have artists not progressed the culture and society? Yeah. Like when has that not happened? I don't know when that has ever not happened. So like it's going to continue. It is what it is.
The one argument that I felt really grounded that, right, or solidified it was when you said, first we got the complaints that, they won't expand the universe. They keep going to Tatooine. They keep going to, the same 2-3 planets. Then you do expand it. And whether it's through gender or through, geographical, whatever it may be, it's like, now it's too open, too diverse.
Yeah.
But it does make sense, right? Doing something 50 years ago would have been odd or awkward because it wasn't fitting with that time, circa 1970s. But we're in 2024, things are a lot different. So to just apply this stamp that everything has an agenda, I think is a little too aggressive.
And not everyone's doing that, by the way.
No, not everybody's doing that. But I also think too, it does help diversify things. You have different aliens, different species, different worlds, different locations.
Yeah, I love it.
I saw something. I wonder who. I think may have been Jason Eaton who posted it. Where like every time they show a new planet, they have to like show the name of it. And even that's like, well, just let it be a new planet. Let it be something. It doesn't always have to be.
Yeah.
And something like that. I did start watching a little bit of it last night, but I didn't get too far because I ended up turning in early. But so, what do you guys think, Tony and Parmandelli? How are you guys feeling about it so far?
Well, and just real quick before you guys say anything, I do want to say just real quick, it's okay if you. I feel like it's okay if you don't like the show. That I want to put that out there. I don't think you have to like the show. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's totally okay for you not to like the show. What I don't like is people shitting on the show, and
because it's popular,
just because it's a thing, and just because it's like the thing to do, or you don't like Disney or whatever. Like, I just don't think you should have to like Star Wars. You don't have to like everything in Star Wars. You just don't. And because Tony, I don't think you like some of the writing and some of the storytelling. That's totally fine. I'm okay with that. If you have a reason for it, that's totally fine. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, I said to you before the show, I caught up with the 4th episode yesterday. So that sort of tells you that I'm not perhaps locked into it. I haven't been following any of it at all on social media. So I went into this. I watched the trailer and then went into this a little bit cold. I have an issue with it's just the way it's written. I just still think not just this show, but all of them except Andor, which is the outlier for me. I just think that it's just poorly written. I think there is some good acting. I agree. The gentleman that was in Squid Games that plays the Jedi, I think he's really interesting. I think he's got a Qui-Gon feel to him. He's a little bit I think he's one of those they're lining him up to be killed but
later at some point.
The other thing is I've had trouble following it in terms of why are these Jedi being killed. That hasn't been explained yet, and we're halfway through.
Sure.
That's really but we're only halfway through, so all of this could change my mind. I'm going to continue to watch it because I love Star Wars, and I'm really hoping Disney can pull me back in again.
Yeah, right.
I'm optimistic, but at the moment, no. And the other thing is the sense of scale with the show. I said it before. I don't know where the money's been spent in terms of the sets. When they said it was shot in the UK, I was expecting an expansive, like, vistas and landscapes.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of scenes where it looks like there's a world behind a set, basically, because otherwise it feels very, very closed in to me. Like it was filmed in the volume.
That's interesting, right? It's interesting how, like, I've noticed this over the past, like, however many shows that they've done, that it doesn't matter if you film it in the volume and you have the most expansive background of any kind, it still feels small. I don't know what it is about the volume that makes you feel like, I mean, obviously it's not real, but at the same time, it's supposed to be made to look real. So, like, it's supposed to be looking like you're in this massive thing, but for some reason it still feels tiny. It still feels like very small. And you're right. That's one of the reasons why I loved Andor, is because I felt like Andor was out in the real world and actually, like, shot somewhere. Right. Loved
it. If you watch some of the making of on Andor, they were relying a lot on the background plates were live landscapes, and they were stitching CGE. They were using existing buildings and then sort of layering CG on top of some of these existing buildings. So, but you just got that panoramic. I remember that scene. I think it was shot in Wales, where the TIE fighter comes over, and you get that sheer sense of scale and landscape because like valley, and those sorts of things aren't in existence here. And that was just what I was expecting. But that's an aesthetic thing. The story, I'm just a bit confused with it, but it's interesting. At least I feel it's a little bit different from what we've had before.
It is different.
I don't think it's not as bad as Book of Boba Fett. I think for me, is still the worst.
Of course, it is. It's freaking horrible.
Yeah.
And this is again what I don't understand is Book of Boba Fett didn't get that kind of backlash.
It didn't know
backlash, and maybe it's just because it was still. I don't know how many shows at that point they had done. I know they had done some Mandalorian stuff. Maybe it was still like, still a new thing for them doing TV kind of a thing, and so people gave them the time or whatever. But like, I don't get it. The Book of Boba Fett to me was an absolute train wreck, and but you know what? That still doesn't make me go, oh, like, Disney doesn't know what they're doing. Star Wars is over. Star Wars is dead. Lucasfilm doesn't know what they're like. What? No, that doesn't mean that. It just means that maybe that story didn't work, or the person they put in charge of that story didn't have a good idea. I mean, let's be honest. Who wrote that? Who wrote Book of Boba Fett? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I do.
Don't know. Filoni? I'm not
Filoni.
sure. Or was it?
No, not Filoni. Favreau. And God's gift to Star Wars wrote that Book of Boba Fett, and it's freaking god awful, is what it is. And so, all I'm saying is that we want certain people to be in charge of Star Wars, and then we get pissed when they bring people in that are excited and want to do stuff. And I will agree. And Jason, I mentioned this to you. What they did with The Last Jedi, when they brought in Rian Johnson and he had essentially agenda to like make everyone, it's like make Star Wars fans like see something different or whatever his thought was. I don't agree with that. I think that's stupid. That's not even a political anything. That's just straight up like stupid. It's just dumb just to say that you want to take a fandom and like turn it upside down. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with directors coming in and going, I want to do something completely different that hasn't ever been done before. Because the problem is we don't want that. As Star Wars fans, we don't want something completely different that's never been done before. What we want is Star Wars. And that's what we want. And we want it to be somewhat consistent. And so that's the issue. That would be the issue I have, is if they're picking people based off of that and trying to do like totally new things. It's like, no, that's not really what we want. Right. We want the consistency that is Star Wars. I don't know. Parm, what do you think?
Let me preface this by saying, for me, original trilogy is there, right?
Yeah.
I watched that as a kid, and I watched that through child eyes, and so that's always going to be there. So, everything that's gone since or been since is kind of here. Yeah. Right. Sure. Well, up and down here. As far as the Acolyte's concerned, probably a bit like Tony. I think the dialogue's quite clunky, but that's nothing new in Star Wars. Right. Like you said, we saw that in the prequels. I think the plot, in the most part, is a little bit lazy, a little bit predictable. And I don't have any issues with the characters per se. It's quite nice to see a variety of Jedi. It's, I certainly don't have an issue with, the ethnicity or the sex.
No,
or,
right.
Whatever, gender anybody wants to be. I have no issue with that whatsoever. And unfortunately, I feel some of those arguments that are being presented on YouTube, they are the reasons why they're upset. And they're perhaps either putting a veil over that by talking about the storyline, and the script and stuff. Because, like you said, we've had equally poorly written Star Wars stuff previously, right? Yeah. I think I said this to you just before the show started, right? I mean, there are some people who have issues with the ethnicity of the main character.
Sure.
But I guarantee you, if they painted her green and gave her entrails and made her a Twi'lek, people wouldn't care.
Right.
But it's still the same actress, right?
Right.
And so I find it annoying that that there is still that level of vitriol out there regarding people's race and people's, I think everyone should be represented. Why shouldn't they be? Like you said, that's what the world is. We are a multicultural society. Star Wars isn't just full of white people. I'm sorry, right?
Especially in a universe with aliens.
Exactly.
It's even crazier.
Which is what I'm saying. If the main actresses were still black, but they were aliens, or they're portrayed as aliens, that's great. Isn't that great?
Well, not to mention, aliens are probably sticking things in all kinds of holes. So, like, who knows what know? I'm just
absolutely, So that's what annoys me more, and my YouTube feed at the moment is full of people like Theory and all these other people where the main headline is clickbait, saying, "Oh, how awful is it? Star Wars is ruined. It's the worst thing ever." I'm sorry, it's not.
No.
Is it great? Yeah, perhaps it's not that great, but give the show a chance, and remember what's gone previously.
yeah. Well, and Parm, I would agree with you that I can understand the frustration, because they spent $180 million or something on this show, or something crazy amount of money. And you think,
I don't even look at budget these days. I mean,
I know exactly.
But
you think about it and you go, well, for that money, you should be able to get people that know what they're doing, and you should be able to get actually really good writing, really good acting, really good CGI, really good everything.
Look, Andor showed you that they can do it, right?
Right.
So, I'm not.
Here's the thing about that, though, Parm. It's like there's people that didn't like Andor, right? And so that's fine. Like what I'm trying to get across is that you don't have to like every single thing that comes out of Lucasfilm, comes out of Disney, comes out of Star Wars. Just like you don't have to like everything that comes out of Marvel. You can, like, for me, a lot of the Marvel stuff, even lately, has not been great. But I loved Loki. I loved certain things that have come out recently. Deadpool, I'm sure, is going to be amazing. Like there's some things that you can pick and choose and go, that's really awesome. And so I think, I think it's tough. I think the canon thing is tough, because I think people, because anything that happens in Star Wars is now canon. It makes everything, like, it personalizes everything. Like it makes it such like a personal, like, affront on people if something gets put in there that they don't like, or something, whatever. It's now part of Star Wars, and you can't ever get rid of it. I just kind of want people to sit back and actually use their heads and brains and think about things, and just not, like, don't be so quick to terrorize something or to throw toxicity at something when it's okay. It's okay if you don't like it. That's totally fine. And the idea that, I know for some people they're pissed that like, oh, it always comes back to race and gender and all that stuff. Like that's, like there's a lot of people that don't care about any of that stuff. They don't like the writing. They don't like the acting, and that's fine. That's fine.
That's where I sit, Matt. I mean, I've stayed certainly while this show's been on. I haven't really been on social media at all, so I haven't watched any of this backlash at all. My criticism is just about the writing. I just think it's
of course.
I just think it's
it's not great. Don't get me wrong.
It's not making me want to. Oh, I can't wait for next Wednesday for the next.
Well, to be episode. And to be fair, guys, we're used to. It could be also. It also doesn't help. I think that we're used to Game of Thrones. Some of these longer, like you think about it. You watch this show and it's a half an hour, and it just goes like this.
That's my biggest gripe. These short 6, 7, or 8 episodes at 27 minutes each. I think that's another reason why Andor had so much love. 12 episodes, roughly an hour each. There's a lot more meat on them.
A lot more meat and a lot more story. You can tell a lot more story. You don't have to have all these like tiny cliffhangers that.
Well, I mean, just on Andor, Matt. I mean, it was the way. Just an example of how cleverly it was written. It was split into blocks of like 3. Yeah. So you spent time in that prison break. It wasn't a 1 episode, wham, bam, you're done. You spent time with them. You started caring about the inmates. It was really well flushed out. But it was, that for me, and I just get the feeling with Disney, Andor was like their thing. Oh, we're just doing this on the side, because I remember it was really, people weren't really looking forward to it. Oh, it's a prequel for Cassian Andor. Was he that great in Rogue One? For me, Andor makes Rogue One even better.
Right.
Andor for me sits below Return of the Jedi as the best Star Wars that I've seen since the originals.
Fantastic.
And that was just my opinion, but they can do it, Disney. They can do it. They can produce stuff for, I just wish they were producing, for me personally, just a few, the writing just needs to be a little bit tighter.
Of course. And that's
and they can do that.
That is okay to have that frustration and to see that, like, hey, they're spending a ton of money on this. Like, why can't you guys like do better? Right? You can do better. Let's do better. Right? Like Star Wars does deserve better. I just want to make sure that people, don't go too far in the other direction. You don't have to like it, but to say that, like, this whole thing of like Star Wars is dead or Star Wars is dying, it's like, what are you talking about? Like did people freaked out and were saying all kinds of crazy shit about the episode 1, 2, and 3, but guess what? There wasn't social media. Like, social media wasn't a thing then, so it couldn't get freaking all this like hate on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if Rotten Tomatoes was around at that point. I can't remember, but it couldn't get all the hate that stuff today can get. And so it just gets this echo chamber of like just toxicity that grows and grows and grows.
Well, I think crazy. I think films nowadays they just have a massive disadvantage. I feel sorry for people releasing films nowadays. They get spoiled. They're torn to pieces on social media, and a lot of the time, by people on one side, they're either extreme one way or the other. Love everything or hate everything. There's never really, you don't see very many balanced arguments on it. Well, can you imagine the original films being released now? They get absolutely torn to pieces.
And Tony, this is the thing that I think a lot of people aren't that are putting that toxicity out there aren't understanding and aren't appreciating and aren't like feeling like understanding the consequence of. As at some point you're going to have directors, writers, and people not want to work on a Star Wars project because it's not worth it. At some point it's not worth it. If the fans are going to be this shitty, And look, there's shitty people all over the world, but like, if fans are going to be this shitty about anything that comes out with Star Wars, then why do it? Why put yourself through that? Why not work on something else? Right. So I don't want us to lose out on some really good quality directors, writers, actors. And I think we're going to start getting into that type of situation.
I didn't think of that, but you're right. Yeah.
I just
we're
think
gonna
that's
start
going to
losing people for fear of like, I don't want my name attached to this.
Yeah.
But it's a real, but outside of, I'm trying to think of something. I mean, maybe outside of like something like Star Trek, which is, you know, is older than Star Wars.
Right.
Those two are really the only real sci-fi. I mean, this franchise has gone on for like virtually 50 years.
Yeah.
And one of the arguments, and it's a really good. I think it's a really good point. Is what age group is Star Wars aimed at? You can have, there's arguments all over. People say, "Oh, it's just for kids." It clearly isn't. It's multi-generational, and you know that makes probably writing something new now.
Tough.
I think at the end of the day, you just write a story. Don't think about the age group. Just do you have an idea? What's the story about? Don't sort of aim it at a certain age group or demographic. Is it a good story? Is it going to grip people?
Yeah.
That's all. But it's very, very difficult, I think, for you know, a new director, something coming in now with an idea. You're trying to please so many different generations. I mean, somebody like me is just old. It's just,
sure.
You know, because we're locked into those original films, we feel some ownership towards it.
Of course.
Oh, I love the original, therefore my, you know, but everybody's got a different opinion, and that's why I could, just because I don't like something doesn't mean that I've got to hate on it because other people like it. I'll just go and watch what I want. I've got things that I can dip into that I really love about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I love some of the Mandalorian episodes, the Light and Magic show, you know, the original trilogy. You know, it's, you know, there's loads of content out there.
There is.
You know?
And to be fair, like it's there's a lot of things that look, I don't think people understand how hard it is to write a show and how hard it is to not only direct and produce and make a show happen, but look at Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was so beloved by fans. And then then it ended and everyone got freaking livid about the ending, right? Like not even some of the best writers can't write something, like can't finish off the writing well. Like look at Lost. The show Lost was fantastic. And then it just went scrambled eggs. Like they couldn't figure out what to do with it. So like, it's not always going to be easy to make a show work and write a show. But I do agree with you. what I want for Star Wars is to pick very talented people that understand what fans want, but also just tell a good story.
Yeah.
It's not so much about like, hey, we want all this fan service or we want all this stuff, but we do want good storytelling and we want good quality. Quality all over the place. Like look at Andor, but there wasn't a lightsaber in the whole damn thing. It didn't matter. Fantastic.
I mean, the other thing with that I was really looking forward to when Disney sort of switched they pivoted onto to streaming was, we're going to do some shows. They're going to be 8 or 9 episodes each. So we're going to really live with, like the Mandalorian, we're going to live with this character for 8 or 9. You know, it's going to be a huge movie. So if we think the movies are good, particularly the original ones, what are we going to get with a show? You know, I remember when Mandalorian was first teased, and then they said we're going to get 8. You know, I know it was only half an hour, but we were going to get 6 hours basically of Star Wars streaming. You know, and that's where I've been disappointed, is just the story. You know, just the storytelling. Yeah,
And Tony, Echo Base, which this, you know, you're completely gone at this point, but here, Echo Base, there are 2 issues today. Every effer has to voice their opinion on everything, regardless of having any facts, which is true. And there's no context around anything these days. And secondly, the movie studios are all profit driven rather than story driven, which is true. right? Which is true, which is a part of this, is that it's a lot more, let's try to keep our streaming service alive, right? And so we've just got to pump out content, essentially. And I mean, look, even to be fair, I liked Ahsoka, but I wasn't crazy about Ahsoka. Like, there was some things about Ahsoka I wasn't a huge fan of. So, you know, they've kind of missed on some things here and there. But that said, if we could just get back to this place of like telling really, really strong stories, that would be great. Again, I will say this: episode 1, 2, and 3 had a good idea, right? They had a good idea of setting like, you know, episodes 4, 5, and 6 up. They had the whatever the track to get there, but the storytelling was dog shit, especially in the first 2. Like, the acting and the writing was freaking dog shit, and so you know, it helped itself a lot in third to get back to it, but you know, shit, man, that's why I struggle with this, because let's all have context around Star Wars. Let's all understand the whole idea of where Star Wars has come from, and understand that not everything is horrible. Not everything is great. Like, I've told this to Jason before. The Last Jedi is a beautiful film. It is. It may not be your cup of tea, and you may be frustrated with how it went. But it's pretty. It's shot very well. It has very good actors in it. It's very, very well, essentially well directed. It just, the story was bad story. The story went into this like weird, like crazy place, right? And you're doing things to characters that, you know, you're making a character drink out of a freaking, you know, cow alien. Like, which is really disrespectful. Like, there's things that happened where you're just like, what are you doing, right?
But it's just that it's the same with every. It's, for me, story comes before spectacle.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, Star Wars is, you know, look at the, you know, the special effects and stuff, but which we certainly me and Palm talk about the original trilogy effects till we're, you know, infinitum. But at the end of the day, it's a layer behind a terrific story of characters and a coming of age story and, you know, various other things. But the end of the day, it is down to the characters and the storytelling. And I don't know how, certainly like on something like Kenobi, which I am still really annoyed with the way
that was a bummer.
Because I thought Ewan McGregor was really,
he's great.
An actor, and he was great in that, and Hayden was.
He was great in episode 1, 2, and 3 too. He was great.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I thought Hayden was actually really good in episode 3. You know, I know he took a lot of.
No, he's great. He was great in
episode 3. You know, he was very good. But that out of all of the Disney,
Kid Hayden, whatever the kid's name is, he can go take a shit. That guy sucked. That kid was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, he's had.
He's not a kid anymore, Tony.
No.
I wouldn't say this to a child. I would not say this to a child. He's an older person now. He sucked. But that said,
well, that was episode 1 was spectacle over story, wasn't it?
It was.
It was. Yeah.
And Adam here says, victim of their own success. The best storytelling knows where it's starting and going and ending, which that's the problem with the sequels. To be honest, that's the problem with sequels. Can't catch lightning in a bottle forever on spinoffs, which is true.
There you go. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, the sequels suffered with, you know, they just thought, well, Star Wars is kryptonite. We can just put anything out and we can just string it together, and you know, But yeah, there was no thought gone into it at all.
Tony and Parm, did you guys like The Force Awakens? I really liked it. Did you guys like The Force Awakens?
I enjoyed it when I watched it. I came out of the cinema initially thinking it was a good movie. Yeah. But when I started recollecting what I'd just seen, it just came across as a remake of the original film.
Forced,
you know, there was far too many parallels with A New Hope, which made me feel like they're just forcing a reboot on us. And that's probably what caused me to dislike it more than the actual film itself, because there were some great set pieces in it. The acting was pretty good. Well directed. Some really cool bits in it. Mm-hmm. But that's what frustrated me more about Force Awakens, was it just felt like, they're just doing another version. And I'd like some originality. I mean, like I said, we hark back to OT, and part of us wants to see something like that again. But that was lightning in a bottle. We're not going to see that again. Right. We saw that when we were kids, so we had a slightly different mindset, and also that revolutionized sim. And it did so much more than just. It was just more than 6 or 7 hours of movie watching. It was revolutionary. The new stuff, you've almost got to lower your expectations a little bit and just kind of accept it for what it is. But also, it is for kids.
It's different.
And I don't feel that compelled to hate on the stuff, because in the back of my mind, I know a youngster is going to enjoy it. Somebody who's far younger is actually going to. They're not going to care about any of the stuff that we,
I hope so.
Kind of dig into so much detail, and that's what's important.
That is what's important, and it's just, man, it's one of those things where, like, I say this a lot too, and I know I probably get shit for this, but over time, people are going to like the sequels. I
suspect so.
It is what it is, guys. There's so much, like, there is so much.
No, surely there can't be.
I'm telling you, dude. Listen, I'm telling you.
The kids that watched it.
Time is a great healer, and I swear to God,
I won't.
That's the trend, but that's the trend. I'm not talking about us. That is the trend with how Star Wars works. Something comes out that people don't like. Eventually, people end up liking it, and it's not us. It's the people that watched it originally.
It becomes nostalgic. That's the problem.
Even all these shows, in 15, 20 years, it's going to be somebody's Star Wars because they grew up with it.
Yes.
There's the familiarity, there's the nostalgia.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's the things that
now,
connect.
What's interesting, Jason, is the only thing I would say about the shows that might be different is there's so many things now to watch, like so many shows that come out that that may change. I mean, you got to think about, like, episode 1, 2, and 3. There was nothing, and then there was something. Right? There was, like, episode 3, 4, 5, and 6, nothing for a long time. Then all of a sudden he makes this thing. It's like a massive deal. And then there's nothing for a long time. And now there's a bunch of stuff. Right? So, like, so it could be that because there's a bunch of stuff and there's going to be a bunch of stuff moving forward, maybe that does change. And maybe people can now decide that they don't like something and not like it for a long time.
Well, they're not. It's not event viewing anymore, is it? It used to.
No.
Star Wars was. Especially when, I mean, look at the hype when episode 1 was coming out. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think we ever will. I mean, we did get a little bit of that with Force Awakens again. But I don't think, even if they go re-release films, which they probably will do in the next few years, I don't think they'll ever have the same impact that, particularly episode 1, when that came. I just remember it was absolutely crazy. The hype around it, and it was destined never to, it was just it just tripped over itself, really. But
it's crazy. And listen, it's just such a weird thing.
It's because we care, Matt. It's because
I know, but it's such a weird thing that it's this show that's getting all the
it's really odd. Like I said, on my YouTube feed, it's literally video after video, which is like, this is the worst thing ever. They've ruined Star Wars, and I'm
crazy.
Like, it's not that. And they're kind of almost jumping on the bandwagon, of hating on it. And give it again. I'm not suggesting this is the greatest thing at all.
No, sure.
I have issue with it, but. Conversely, I'd like to give it a chance. Let it finish,
I have issue with it, but I can watch it. Like Book of Boba Fett was hard for me to watch. It was really hard for me to sit down and watch it every week. Like we did this Shelter in Space, CC and I and Jason, and it was hard. It was hard to sit down and watch Book of Boba Fett because of how.
But we still did. We still sat down and watched it.
We still sat and watched it. And this is not that though.
Disney knows this. I know all these people that are hating on it. I'm going to watch the next episode, and they're going to release a YouTube video and say that was the worst thing ever.
It's so true.
Stop watching it.
But
if you really want to put money where your mouth is, stop watching it.
But I can watch Acolyte and it's fine. Like I don't feel like, oh, I'm struggling to watch this thing. Like I just don't. I feel like I'm interested to see what's going to happen next. And like I told Jason, like one of the big things, and this is a little bit more particular about one of the things that happened in the show, but one of the big things that people were hating on was the fact that like the witches had a different way of using the Force, or like dealing with the Force with like the string thing and everything. And I'm like, guys, you do realize that like the Force religion has everyone thinks God is something different or someone different, right? Like absolutely. you can't imagine a situation where the Force is the Force and everyone treats the Force differently based off of how they. It's a totally different interpretation. I
just really didn't get that hate, because it was like, we have so multiple religions, which all believe in God or whatever you want to call it,
or a higher power of some kind,
or a higher power of something, but their interpretation is completely different.
It's crazy.
And people kill each other over it.
I know. We've been doing it for freaking ever. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Brian says so much wasted opportunity with Kenobi, which is true. Had they focused solely on the relationship, emotions between Obi and Anakin, Vader, it could have been amazing.
I mean that could have been a really simple story, really.
Honestly, Tony, that is, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that they've made is not doing that show more, putting more into that show, whether that's better writing, better storytelling overall. That to me is more of a problem than Acolyte ever will.
Exactly.
You're dealing with a beloved character.
I wanted to see Kenobi try and turn his friend Anakin back to the goods, and we had that, which was a very great scene between Hayden and
the fight.
Ewan. There just wasn't enough of it. Well, it was the dialogue. It was the dialogue at the end. That 30 seconds. I wanted more of that and lots of it.
Yeah,
because it would have mirrored back to that throwaway line that Vader did in Return of the Jedi that Obi-Wan once thought as you did, and that I thought that would be the driver for Obi-Wan. Sense the good in Anakin, and there was going to be a character study between these two, and it just got mixed in with these Inquisitors, which I just think are unnecessary. This could have been a stripped out story, and they had this they were cutting between him fighting Vader to Luke, who suddenly now has seen a lightsaber. That I have a really big issue with, but. Yeah, it's just I gutted really, because I just thought they could have really done something special with that, because they got two fantastic actors
for sure.
Well.
Star Wars is a strange thing where it's an infinite universe, but it's also a walled garden. You're constrained by everything that's gone before it. You've got the original trilogy, which defines a particular sandbox, and almost kind of says, well, you can't go beyond this and you can't do this.
Right.
So it constrains the storytelling, and I think that's
it's a good and a bad thing, because
exactly, absolutely,
it's good because it's like you have these guardrails that keep Star Wars, but at the same time,
it's easy to trip over them.
Yeah, and sometimes it's really frustrating.
And when people trip over them, it's like, why did they do that? That doesn't make sense. It's like, I think they're just trying to edge the guardrails out a little bit. That's all they're trying to do. But people just treat them as kind of you can't
and you have the problem, which we've seen recently with, I think it was even Ki-Adi-Mundi and some other things, where it's like they had the extended universe, right? With what was it? Was it comic books or what, novels or whatever they were doing?
The expanded
universe. So they had all this going on, which they wiped out.
Yeah.
And so, but then people get pissed when they do stuff that touches a little bit on the expanded universe, even bringing like little things in about it or whatever. But because like, it's not, if they got rid of it, then it's not a thing, but like they can't, you know what I mean? There's so many things.
It's difficult with the expanded universe because they took Thrawn out of the expanded universe.
Right.
And that makes that character development quite difficult, because it's like, where do we go with this? Do we stick with what he is now, and do we forget about, but they've taken elements of the expanded universe out of that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Coruscant was Timothy Zahn named Coruscant, right? That wasn't George Lucas named Coruscant, but they decided to take that as the name of the capital city. So, you know, bottom line, we're not going to please everybody.
No, we're not.
Yeah, less of the kind of toxicity. I think
at least I got someone that.
That's what I want to see less to see.
I got someone that agrees with me. Echo Base says I'm on the same page as Matt. I think because I don't have anything invested in the series, I'm okay with it. It's not amazing, but I'm not getting a pitchfork out either. Which that's honestly exactly the way. and
that's
and
the way to watch it.
It sucks that we have to feel that way about, at least currently, a decent amount of stuff that's come out. But I would agree with that about Marvel stuff as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I was with you, Matt. I thought Loki was a standout.
Loki's amazing.
I really enjoyed that.
Loki's amazing. But then you look at other stuff like Hawkeye and some of this other stuff, and it's like, like it's okay, and that's
it's
whatever.
All throwaway now as well. It's forgettable. Yeah. You watch it, you don't go back and watch it again. You know, I mean, you know.
Yeah, but you know what? And I could be wrong because maybe I'm not in those like in that bubble, but like I didn't see people like pulling their pitchforks out because they did just a whatever series with like look at Madam Web and some of this stuff, like how god awful some of these things are, and you don't see like people like beside themselves talking about these things and like you know saying that Marvel is dead. You know, so I don't know. I just think you have to look at it and go, hey, some things you're not going to be crazy about. And, you know, hopefully everything you can watch and just enjoy and say, like, thank goodness we're getting more Star Wars stuff. Like, we're getting Star Wars stuff. That's awesome. Like, we're able to see this universe, you know, continue. And this whole, like, idea and this whole, like, vision that this guy, George Lucas, who's a horrible, I think he's a horrible writer and director, but I think he's an incredible visionary. Incredible. Like, to think that we're still able to get stories coming out of this and still expanding this idea is incredible. It's awesome. It's just not going to always be your cup of tea, is I think the question, you know.
Yeah.
So Echo Base says Loki was the Marvel Andor. Yeah. Loki was absolutely amazing. Very good. Yeah, Jason, do you ever see Loki? Did you see that show?
I did. I didn't watch the second one, but I did see it. Yeah.
Dude, the second one's amazing.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
The second season's incredible. It's really good. Anyway, we can put that to rest. I just wanted to kind of touch on that because it's such a freaking crazy deal right now, and I don't think people are giving it the credit it deserves, or at least talking about it how it should be talked about. But anyway, I wanted to kind of move on and talk about some. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Let me see. Where is it? This one. Okay, so let's move into talking. Oh, Cece's here. Cool. Hi, Cece.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah, we just ended our Acolyte chat, so.
I listened to it. I was like, dude, they're an hour in and they haven't mentioned a collectible once.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Matt didn't even stop and go.
He didn't even breathe. Just kept going and going and going. Cece's good to have you. We're going to be talking, going into some of the collectibles chats. So. This looks fantastic.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting this to be this good, and it's good. It's very good. I wasn't expecting this to rival the Mythos statue. The original. And not that it's the same. I mean, it's mostly clothing, mostly what's it called?
Mixed media.
So that's not my favorite. I do love the hand sculpted feel of the original Mythos piece. It's just incredible. It's an incredible piece. So you can't get better than that, in my opinion. But this is really good. Like for people that don't have that and want something, I want to
fantastic price as well, isn't it?
It's not bad. What did it come out to? What was it? Do you remember?
Was it 600 something?
Something around there, yeah. 699 maybe?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah, that
the sculpts are good.
Yeah.
The sculpts are great.
Yeah.
The sculpts are great. The pose is great. Like the base is nice. Like they really did a great job, man. Again,
the mythos that you have there, Matt, almost captures both Ewan and Alec, doesn't it? Which is actually quite incredible.
Yes, it's a pretty amazing piece.
Yeah. And I think that's the other thing that a lot of people have been saying is that they prefer the sculpted. Some people like, obviously, mixed media. I'm actually a fan of mixed media when it comes to statues.
Yeah.
Obviously, the difficulty is going to be trying to get that cape to drape and flow like they've managed to do it here. Whereas at least you don't have to worry about that.
Parm, that's always the problem, right? Like, in my opinion, capes look so much better sculpted because they do such awesome shit with the capes when they sculpt them. So like, I can't never get them to look like that.
Exactly.
When I do it myself. So
totally.
I don't know. I do think this looks really good. I think the head sculpts are incredible. I think the pose is great. And like I said, if you don't have it, this is a great option.
Fantastic option, isn't it?
Oh,
as great as the original Mythos pieces are, it really has rubbed people the wrong way that they're 1/5 for those collectors who are corporate scale collectors. So I think like some people are either upset because they always would have gotten it in quarter scale,
right? Sure.
First, but I think that this kind of like remedies those people who collect quarter scale and didn't want some random 1/5 in their collection.
Yeah, and this is it is interesting to me that the Mythos pieces are moving into a quarter scale situation because that's not been the case for a very long time. So it's I don't know if that's just because they feel like this is a turning point and they can do that. Like it's a new, they're coming out with these new pieces and maybe from now on they'll be quarter scale. I don't know, but everything else is 5th scale, it's 5th, right? Everything else is that 5th scale for the Mythos pieces. So it isn't going to match if you get it to match to put it next to any of those other pieces. So that's going to be a little bit strange, but on its own, it's fantastic.
The backpack on it's incredible.
It is,
really. Oh, look at that.
It's crazy.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they got the Tuscan rifle, the lightsabers, gaffy stick below. It's cool, man. It is. It is amazing. And that's one of the things that's incredible about the original Mythos pieces that, I mean, you got them, from the front, you're looking at them. It's amazing. If you turn them around, the detail is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The amount of detail they put into it.
Do you think this will affect the value of the original Mythos, or do you think that will retain its kind of high commanding?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I think they'll still retain their value because they're always going to be hand sculpted, right? I think the original were, whereas these were always done like these are like ZBrush or whatever, like sculpted digitally. So that and the bases, these are very premium format bases. They kind of in the newer Mythos pieces like Ventress, the Anakin that was fucking god awful, the other Kenobi that no one liked, like those have that premium format base as well. But the original ones, the original Kenobi, Gamorrean Guard, like it also has that kind of Boba Fett has that museum style base, like that are quite classy. So I think it's not like it's a carbon copy, which is good. You could just.
I'm not a fan of the plastic lightsaber effect on this. It looks a bit. I mean, I know lightsabers are very, very difficult to kind of replicate.
Yeah, they are.
In that kind of medium. But
does it light up?
It does light up, I think. Yeah, I don't think that is that a picture of it lit up, or is it just that? It doesn't look like it, does it? It just looks like the color of the plastic. It just looks a bit toyish. I mean, it looks like the color of the saber that was on the original 3.75-inch figure.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. Does honestly, that come out the blade? Because I prefer it not to have the blade. Actually,
I hear you. Honestly, I think the I want to say the original Mythos piece, this lightsaber is not very different. Any different?
Oh, okay.
I don't think.
Okay.
I don't have that piece, the original, but someone, I forget who. That's gonna bother me now that I can't remember who it was. It might have been Spice Runners Lounge. I think they were talking about it, where the original Mythos had, I don't know if it was a swap out hand or something like that, where you had the option of him holding the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it had the blade or you had the option of the hand where he wasn't holding a saber or something like that. Because
that's what mine has, CC. Mine right now doesn't have the lightsaber he's holding. It just has the hand out. And I have I have the hand up here that has the lightsaber.
And so, I don't know if they've said with this if you get any switch outs.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay. Yeah, I've not seen that. I've not seen any pictures of him without the.
I would think you'd get
lightsaber.
Something, right? I mean, I would think there would be some sort of switch out.
That might explain the price if it doesn't come with any switch outs.
Yeah,
even though an arm can't be terribly expensive, I imagine.
It's true.
The other issue I always find with these lightsabers is they're prone to breakage, you know. So it would be nice to have the option where it's not, because they kind of stick out, don't they? And
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously you get the alternative portrait as a switch out, but you'd think they would give you something to switch this hand out. You know, that would be nice. But yeah, I mean, overall, fantastic.
Amazing.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, it's really a great one.
Great job by Sideshow.
Really good job by Sideshow. I mean, the stuff that they're coming out with lately has been really good. Really good.
I really want to see the Luke that they teased. Because we already got
X-Wing.
Oh, with the X-Wing.
Yep. I'm not a Luke fan.
Sorry.
Concept looks really cool to me.
Yeah, right.
It's
the only issue that I would say with Sideshow is still they suffer from QC issues, because I've seen a lot of issues with that Boba Fett and the
Han and Carbonite.
Yeah, Han and Carbonite.
It's wobbling around.
Yeah, wobbling around, not locking in properly. And
really?
Sideshow on, and then Sideshow are saying, "Well, that's the way it is. You're not going to get replacement."
Is it a premium format, or is it a
premium format?
Okay. It's that quarter scale with Boba Fett leaning against Han and Carbonite.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's my only concern. I think their promo shots always look fantastic, and I don't know, their production pieces tend to suffer from QC issues, which
maybe it's
Sideshow.
Han Solo's melting a little bit. And so he's like moving around a little bit. It's fine, right? Adam says size matters. Don't tell my wife that. We won't. But yeah, honestly, that's the one thing that's kind of weird about this one, is that it's a Mythos piece. It's a quarter scale piece, which isn't what we've seen in the past. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes. And I'm guessing that's going to be the future of the Mythos line. Right?
Are they calling this myth? Oh, they are calling this.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. So I think
there's more. There's just more quarter scale collectors out there, aren't there?
There probably are. Yeah. Fifth scale is a very kind of a weird scale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only things they're releasing fifth scale with obviously the Mythos line and the RMQ Ralph McQuarrie concept, the 3 statues they did for the Fett, the Stormtrooper, and the Vader. They were on 5th scale.
Right. But I think that's just an older way of that.
They still look great.
They look great. All of them. All the Mythos look. Most of the Mythos looks great too. And so it's. I don't know. It's interesting. But then there's also this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Premium Collectible Studio PCS. So PCS, are they known for more of their CC? They're known for more of their what's it called? What's the stuff that they do? They do Street Fighter, don't they? Don't they do a lot of Street Fighter stuff?
Yeah, and then I think also some horror stuff.
Ninja Turtles. Have they done Ninja Turtle stuff?
Yep. They did that really everyone was freaking out. It's a cool concept. That one, I think we briefly were talking about in the group chat. With the the drain cover, and it's 1-to-1 scale where it's their heads.
Oh, I saw that, yeah. That was quite cool.
Yeah.
Huge.
I love this.
I forget what their claim to fame was. But yeah,
didn't they do the one where the turtle is in the middle with the brothers, the ghost brothers are on the sides of him. That was a really popular one too.
Yep.
So anyway, they've been around. They've done a lot of really great stuff. So now they're delving into 1/3 scale Star Wars, I guess.
That was the license that they got. So I forget when they announced it, but God, it was like a minute ago. They between the time they announced that they had it on, I think it was Rad Titan show. Sorry about the background noise. Yeah, from the time they announced it and posted a picture that they were in San Francisco at Lucasfilm to this was like quick turnaround, and they said that they're working on this and only in third scale. Because I think sometimes they've done projects, I can't remember if it's PCS or someone else, where they'll do like third scale and fourth scale. Their license is just third scale. And then the other part of their license is 1-to-1. They call it fine art bus. I'm using air quotes, not because it's fine art, like not fine art, but it's that, like, they're quite interesting.
Don't get this wrong, Cece. No, I'm kidding.
They did, I think, a Carnage bust in that style, where it's not just Carnage's head, like the Queen Studios ones. It's kind of like a diorama within itself. And they said that they're doing that with Darth Vader.
Okay.
Because I'm worried.
Anybody order this?
I'm not a third scale collector.
That's a lot.
It looks good. I like the other sculpt though. The other stance. I think. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him half naked.
He does.
That thing is just nasty. Man. That is so nasty. Look at that.
That's crazy looking statue, man. That thing looks freaking killer.
I thought nobody was ever going to be able to top the XM Mall, but this is it.
I think this looks better than the XM Mall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is it. And just the XM Mall had such a dynamic,
dynamic
display. But this is Mall and all.
The only thing I don't like is I don't think this is needed. I just don't think it's. I don't think they need to do it.
I don't need to do it. It's very polarizing.
He's the only one who doesn't like this. Blah.
They don't need it. They don't need to do it.
The base, I feel like it was like 50-50 whether you liked the base or didn't like the base. I like the base.
I mean, I think the base is simple enough as it is. It's cool. I just don't think they need to do that. But
yeah,
it's not. It's at the same time. It's still freaking amazing. Like, and they got stuff all around them, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it's pretty. It's impressive, man. Like, it really is. So you're saying is there another top to him?
Yeah, I think there's another. There's one of these. That's right.
I think it's the deluxe. You get the second torso where he's clothed, and maybe he's not holding the lightsaber.
Yeah, it's more like the classic Phantom Menace pose, isn't it? As he.
Yeah, and I thought it was the deluxe, so it should be in this. Oh yeah, keep going.
There it is. You can see it. Yeah, you can see it in the bottom right. That's
hold on.
Yeah, that's
there. You go.
This one.
Oh, the platinum.
The platinum edition.
I will say, price-wise, it does seem high, but not for third scale, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I have one, and I think it was less, but it's also not Star Wars, and it also doesn't come with a second torso.
This is interesting.
Like the separate base.
They're giving you a
comes with a coin.
Yeah, but also a ticket to get $200 off your next purchase, which that's interesting. That's an interesting one.
To win, no guarantee.
Ties you in.
That you'll get. Yeah.
What's the price on this?
It is $1,755.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, not cheap, but like Cece said, I mean, it is third scale. You are getting a lot. Yeah, you're getting another torso. You're getting the base, whether you like it or not. I mean, now that I see it closer in some of these pictures, it's not as bad. I thought it was a little deeper into the thing. It's more like, yeah, it's not as bad. So I think it works.
I think it's more of a relief than it is like a diorama. Because I thought, just dimensionally, I thought when I first posted about it that it was a diorama. But looking at it, I think it's just slightly inset a little bit.
Yeah, looks much better. Let me see if I can. There we go. That
looks great.
That's classic.
That's your classic.
Right?
That's your classic. Yeah, Maul pose.
I mean, Jason, this is the classic. This is the classic Maul.
I like them both.
Look right here. Which way would you do it?
You know why I really like the other one with the if I was gonna display it, I would display him in the topless pose. So
okay.
Everybody knows the Kota Bukia one, right? Where he's up on the rock.
Spider legs.
No, there's one more. Not the spider leg. You know what I'm talking about? Where they make them, you know the drawings of like the Japanese battle fighters? I forget the name of it. But basically, there's a variation of mall. There's a variation of mall like that Kota Bukiya released, right? So
Yeah.
The 1/7 scale one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the look like
toenails are like clambering over. Yeah, so basically he's got the hilt and it's like pressed up against his arm muscle and he's like this and he's, just you see all the black and red, and that's always been one of my favorite pieces, but it's small. You put it on display, and like I said, it's maybe equivalent to like just shy of a hot toy. Having it in this size, because whenever we see larger malls, premium, 1/4, he's always clothed. Even the 1/3 scale sideshow, he's just in a very, it's a great looking piece, but he's in a generic pose with all his robe on. You don't get to see him in that dynamic warrior pose. And even XM, he's in a dynamic pose, but he's still all hooded,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes. Dill David got it correct. Yes.
Yeah. I like the sculpt that they're doing with the whatever skirt thing whatever the hell he's got on there. I like that. I think it's cool. Brian doesn't like it. I'm sure people that are like hardcore mall people, they're probably going to have, I don't know. I don't know if the sculpt looks good to me. Everything looks good to me, but I'm also not like a massive mall guy. So like, I don't know. I just think the problem I have is that it's so damn big. Like there's no way. It's
huge.
I mean, if you think about this thing, I don't know if they have the size. Gosh, do they have
30,
the size?
34 high, isn't it? Something like that.
Is it? I mean, look at this.
25.
Maybe more than that, Matt, actually.
with the lightsaber that high, where would you put it?
I'd have to drill a hole through my ceiling just to get the lightsaber in. Hey, Matt, it could be a statue you can view in 2 rooms.
It's crazy.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. 34 inches tall, 16 by
that's crazy.
14 and a half wide.
Did you guys see that bust that Warren put up for sale? It was done by Andy Wright, the 1-to-1 mall bust. That was $2,000. I would take that every day of the week.
I got you.
And that's only what, 250. That was, I mean, I don't know if that's the retail price that Andy charges. I don't know, but my God, that looked awesome.
Yeah.
And if you got the spec, you'd get a bust, right? 1-to-1 bust.
Yeah. Yes and no, though. That's the thing. People like statues. People that like this type of format, like the dynamic poses. They like the full character. So I don't know, man. I think it looks pretty freaking good but it's 1/3. It's a tough thing to sell. I feel like I don't know how.
That's the other thing. You need to know what else is going to come down the line with 1/3 from these guys. And is this going to be the only piece you'll have, or will it be
yeah.
But real estate is one of those things. It just takes up a lot of space.
Well, and Egobase says Sideshow Mace was $1,000. So this for $1,700 for 2 torsos, and 1/3 is pretty good in his opinion.
Yeah,
which is true. Brian says I'll stick to George's vision that my wonderful air parts of man were okay. I love Rogue One, but this is $120 million down the drain. Oh, is he talking about?
I think he's talking about.
He's talking about. Maybe he's behind or something. He's talking about
the undercover exposure of Disney racism. Very odd.
Yeah. Adam Footprint could have been better if you could have him with just one blade down in the topless pose. I wonder if
they removable those blades.
I wonder if you could take one of them out, right? Because that would obviously make it a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
that topless pose.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a lot of height.
You even got to think about like if you put the other torso on, that's still really wide.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really wide situation you got to deal with, right? So it's either really tall or really wide. I don't know what to tell you. The other thing I was gonna mention is, and I don't know if we can show pictures yet. Are we allowed to show pictures yet of Regal Robots?
Bib Fortuna.
Yeah,
that's on. That should be on.
That thing's been off for like 2 years.
Is it on their website?
I think so.
I think so.
I don't know.
So. Coming soon.
Let's check real quick. Real Robot, come on.
Shit, maybe it's not.
I don't think it is.
Well, maybe it's just on the Facebook page then.
It's been out for so long. People know what it looks like.
Yeah,
okay. It was on show at Celebration a few years ago as well, right? So,
you can Google it and get the Celebration.
Go ahead, start talking about it. I'll find it. Start talking about it. Tony Parminder, are you guys picking this up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because I'm invested in that line.
End of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not going for the legacy this time. I'm done with Phil sketches.
Listen to Parm. Invested in that line. It's just oh my gosh, dude.
Can I ask why you're not going for the legacy?
I've already got the legacy with the Wampa. I've got the legacy coming with the Rancor, and I just thought that's probably enough from Phil.
Yeah.
They're getting. I think the problem is it's just getting expensive. You know.
Yes.
For the just for that, you're still getting the maquette. Yeah. You're still getting the signature series. You're not losing anything but the art. Yeah.
And also the way I have it displayed now, the likelihood is I'm going to display mine all without any plaques and any of the frames because it just looks too busy. So that's another reason why I decided to go with just the cat.
This looks great.
Sure.
I love it.
Sure. It looks like Bib Fortuna made in Play-Doh. No, I think I think like I said before, it is exactly what they it's exactly how they made the concept. It's exactly like it. And if you're a concept collector, then this is perfect, right? And
what's great about this too is when they posted the image of the guy holding the maquette and doing the life
while he's sculpting. Yeah, that's right. That's really cool.
Because that's whether it was the models or this was their purpose, right? To serve as reference, physical reference, not just drawings to work off of, and that's fantastic because it's just a great physical, tangible, 3D way of looking at things.
These sketches are good though. They're certainly better than the ones that he's done to the other two.
He's upped his game.
He stepped his game up. Yeah. just as I'm out.
This looks like a nun being choked by Jabba the Hutt. Like it looks like.
These drawings are definitely getting better. I mean, I still see the storyboard feel like in action.
Yeah.
You know when you do like a flip book.
That's how I think that's how he's doing it, Jay. I think he did it. He did exactly the same with the Rancor, and he's done exactly the same with the Wampa. I think the Wampa ones, I don't think I've seen a bad one of the Wampa at all, and I do think these are more consistent. I'll be honest with you, I would have been tempted by the legacy, but it was just it's a funds thing for me at the moment. It's another 300, and I've already got two of Phil with a Wampa and the Rancor, so it's just these
and
aren't
it's difficult
to
display them.
Yeah, it's really difficult
when you've got them all grouped together. If you had like an individual display with each maquette, like I've seen a couple of people have got that, and I think in that particular instance, having the legacy sketch with it looks really good. But when you're grouping them together, which again is something a lot of people are doing, it just gets really, really hard to kind of display it.
This is what we talked about previously. It's like at some point it's going to be impossible to display these damn things. There's going to be so many of them. That you're gonna have shelves of these things, and you're gonna have to figure out how to and then on top of that, you're gonna have shelves of freaking Phil Tippett signatures and drawings. That's crazy, dude.
I think I'm up to 6 now, Phil.
We talked about
it's amazing.
Do you? Because I forget who. One of you guys already has the Wampa, correct?
Yeah.
Parm does.
Got it.
You got the legacy.
Yes, I got the sketch. You want to see the sketch?
Okay.
Yeah, you got a great sketch.
I was going to say, we might have to talk offline about something sacrilege because I'm debating how I'm sure it's not, but just in the off chance it is difficult to take that frame apart.
I can have a look for you for sure.
Yeah, because I only say that
you have to actually dismantle because when you get the legacy editions, there's a blue film on each side of the acrylic. So you actually have to take the frame apart to take the the blue film off and then put it all back together.
Oh, okay.
But I guess what you're talking about is how the picture is affixed to the mount, right?
Back. And that's not time sensitive. I'm curious because
I'll show you. I'll send you pictures after.
Okay, I think after our show we talked about it because you're right. I'm not hardcore with the maquette line at all. But you're right. Like people are gonna run out of, and I'm kind of anti-plaque, which is so weird. Like I don't need to see Phil's signature like seven or six times in my collection, like on a plaque. I know what it looks like. I'm good. Like I don't.
The maquettes look really nice all together without any plaques, in my view.
Yeah.
The way I've experimented, and actually, it just as a cohesive display, it looks so much nicer without any plaques, because the plaques just add a little bit to, it's a shame because you've got all these signatures which are fantastic, but it just makes it look so busy. But so unless you can display them individually, and I've actually heard from a lot of people who are moving away from plaques because it just adds, I guess, it's almost a distraction to the piece itself. There's one guy that I know who basically had a bunch of plaques, and he sold all his plaques and just decided to display everything without them, and it looks his display looks.
Ultimately, that's what it looks like in the archives anyway, when they're all grouped together anyway.
Right.
So
it's great to have the signatures of these artists. It's definitely a bonus, but from a displayability perspective. And given that we didn't start off with legacy editions, we've kind of gone through, 5 or 6 maquettes, and then suddenly you've introduced them. There's an imbalance then as well.
Tom needs to have some sort of to make some sort of giant Phil Tippett like thing where he can go, hey, we're gonna consolidate all the signatures onto one.
Well, actually, I was thinking
all the things together and then have him sign one giant plaque. Like, holy shit,
dude. I was talking to Tony about this, and I was wondering if it would be worth reaching out to Hector and asking him if he would do a project that's essentially for the maquette line,
right?
And it could be I think he has done a Return of the Jedi Creature Shop project previously, but if you could do one which is specifically for the maquettes, and then you could just have one picture, get all of these folks that have already created maquettes to sign
which would be great.
Perfect.
No, that'd be perfect. That'd be perfect.
And Hector might be up for it. I don't know.
That would be really interesting. I mean, shit, that's something Tom should freaking do. Like that would be
cool.
Because he could get you freaking dumb shits to buy that separately, and you probably would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's something he could totally get, because people are like, oh shit, we should have done this from the beginning.
Well, and I don't want to get my hopes up, but because I have like an elephant's memory, but I think one of the live streams I asked if they would consider anything in the 2D realm, and I don't even know how that works licensing wise, but I asked about the matte paintings. If they would, hey, are the matte paintings in archives, and is that something that you guys would do? And he got kind of quiet.
What was the response? I didn't remember that question actually.
And was "Yep, something we are interested in," or something. I don't know. He said interested in, or
each one hand painted.
Jason's laughing.
I said each one hand painted.
Yeah, hand painted by.
Yeah, I don't. But
no, that's a great idea, actually.
Well, because I think that I appreciate the sketches, and it kind of makes you like, that's something I've always thought about, where it's like, when you're running out of space, you try to combine things you love. Me, it's like prop replicas and art prints. Like, well, the matte paintings are kind of like the closest you can get to like a child of both in that kind of realm. So,
and those matte paintings have been on the in the tours, in the various tours that they've done with the archives. They've had matte paintings on display. So that'd be a great addition, particularly if you if you're a proper collector.
Colin says first time he's joining in a while, and he's like, "Oh, a Phil Tippett signature on a Regal Robot piece." same as always.
Yeah, I think
awesome.
It tends to, like, I've been anti-plaque for years. Like, it looks busy and also too museum, where I'm like, this is my house. Like, I don't want it to look that formal. Like, I know what it is, but I'm at that dilemma where it's like, I like the legacy sketch, but I don't think I'm going to display it like this with a plaque. As nice as it looks, I think with limited space and not liking having 7 different Phil Tippett signatures, I think I'm going to have to get creative and MacGyver something with that.
How, Cece, how would you be able to find the legacy sketch on its own?
I have the legacy sketch on order.
Oh, okay.
That's what Parminder, like, if I could figure out if it's how the sketch is mounted, if it is at all, displaying it without the plaque.
Yeah, that was always something I was concerned about. I was hoping that the plaque could be removed from the legacy, or they'd have an option for just having the print to be able to be displayed on its own. But yeah, it's a difficult one.
How many have been released this year?
Oh gosh, we've had Klaatu. That was this year, wasn't it?
Bib.
Bib Fortune.
Prune Face.
Prune Face came at the start of the year.
Oh shit! Forgot about Prune Face.
Is the Wampa considered a concept?
No,
that's a prop replica. That came out this that came out this year. Came quick, that did actually, didn't it? Because we were Tony and I were expecting that to drop like
that came
year.
That
came way too quick. Yeah.
Had
to pay that off quick. That's it, I think.
And then do you guys have any ideas?
Then Jar Jar as well, but that's obviously
right, Jar Jar
prequel. Yeah,
those sketches are actually really good.
They are. Yeah,
they're very good.
Do you guys have any ideas what the next Regal Robot drop is going to be? That Return of the Jedi. Any thoughts? I think we talked about it before. You said
we talked about it before.
You mentioned
Wicked Spear, perhaps.
A Wicked Spear.
Actually, the other thing that I thought of, and Tony and I spoke about this, was potentially because they've done the gaffy stick right for the for the Tuscans, but they potentially could do the Rancor Keeper's gaffy stick as well, which is slightly different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wouldn't have even thought that.
And I guess, Tony, was the actor? Did we say the actor's still around?
I'm not sure he is. That's the only.
Oh, is he not? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but
we'll Google
I know the gaffy stick is. I think it's shorter than the Tuscan one, and there's the spike on the end.
What if it was? What if it was the chain that connects Leia to?
He's around. All right, yeah, that'd be cool.
What if it's this chain around her neck and then
only if Phil signs it, man. Only if Phil signs it.
That'd be amazing.
I think Disney are gonna.
Oh.
Would you get that? Would you get that because it's the Leia chain? I think you get it.
We'll never see that.
I have some weird shit, but like I don't know how I could justify that in my house.
Disney will never clear that.
Yeah, exactly.
That.
The Leia.
But Tom mentioned that they're announcing that at San Diego Comic Con now, because originally I think it was going to be like around now, wasn't it? That they were going to tell us what it was. But
I'm hoping to get to see him and Rob. I don't know if they have a booth or what they're going to do.
I don't know.
Actually, funny enough, I talked to Rob today. It was totally about Formula One. But he's gonna. So it's a panel on licensed Star Wars collectibles, I want to say. Okay. But they're not doing a booth, and they were asked last minute to do the panel on I think it's only the Friday, because he asked if I was going. So, and I'm still on the fence, but they don't have a booth. He said like they would only do Star Wars Celebration, so they wouldn't even do San Diego.
It's probably cheaper, to be honest.
Most companies don't even bother doing San Diego, honestly.
San Diego Comic Con's expensive as hell. It's crazy. But CZ, I hope you come. That'd be cool. I'm gonna go Friday. I think Friday and Sunday, maybe something like that.
Keep you posted. Yeah, because airfare is cheap. It's just once I get there, it's a little.
Yeah. Totally.
And I was in their neck of the woods, sort of. It's not the same. I understand. There's different parts of the UK, and I was not in their neck of the woods per se, but I was over in Manchester a few weeks ago.
It's all the same.
Yeah. Dreary weather and rain, but
same shit weather.
It was great to hang out with the people, but it was RS guys and stuff. I went to the Vice Press convention, and they were even talking about, I think a few of them are wanting to go to Japan or have plans to go to Japan. But if they do go to Japan, it's like on Disney's dime. It's not something that like they're applying and hoping that they get approved. Other than that, they're not making the trek. And I say that like the artists that were there at this convention.
Okay. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are priced out. I feel sick thinking about how much airfare was for me. So I can't imagine other people. And my flight's direct. So I'm like, that's some shit. That my flight was so expensive when it's direct from Denver, but
yeah, it's crazy. No, I can't. The the Japan one is crazy. I don't know. I obviously San Diego is right in my in my backyard, so I can
yeah, that's great.
I can do that pretty easily, which is great. I'm gonna take my kids, I think, on Friday, and then maybe go myself on Sunday. I don't know. The thing is, the more I go to this thing, the more I'm like, I can't go more than a day or even 2 days at the most. It's just too much. Like, it's so big, and there's a lot to see, but at the same time, you can kind of roll through things fairly quickly. Like, if there's not an endless amount of things, and then once you get into like going down to the side of where all the comic books and stuff is, there's only so much I'm gonna look at there, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I still love it though. It's still freaking such a fun event. I really wish. It's so frustrating that Sideshow doesn't come to that thing, because their booth has always been like the biggest booth and the place where everyone hangs out and everyone goes to see all the new. It's just such a bummer, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's economical for them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can do that Sideshow Con thing and kind of get the same love for all the stuff that they're doing. So I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, COVID showed you could do a ton of stuff remotely.
I know. Kind of, it was good for some things, screwed a lot of things, other things up. So
yeah.
What are you gonna do? All right, guys. Well, I think that's good for me. I just wanted to chat over some of that stuff and some of the newer collectibles. There's gonna be all kinds of other things to chat about eventually.
Can we? It's me. Can I beg a favor?
Yeah, there.
Well, so there's Hot Toys, but there's an art print that's still available.
Which one?
The Eyes Without a Face, the mall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see Hot Toys drop is it Droidica?
The droid. Yeah, the ball droid.
We can talk about that. Was actually on the thumbnail. I didn't think about talking about it, so we can actually talk about it if we want.
It feels almost wrong to talk Hot Toys without Nathan.
Nathan, I agree.
I know that's the problem. If we want to save stuff for Nathan to talk about, he's that little guy's so excited about those Hot Toys. I mean, you gotta love that he's so into it, and it's great. Like his collection's fantastic, right? And like I honestly don't know how he has room at this point for new stuff. Like I don't know.
He does he's very good with he does like the diorama setups, and he's very like specific about his collection.
Yeah.
Like if you pay attention to the details, he like pairs things well.
He does a great job displaying them. I'm just saying that
it's like a curation, if you will.
Because he does that, like I don't know how he has room for new things. Like I don't know.
There's been a lot of releases for his wheelhouse.
Gosh, it's gotta suck for him, dude.
Well, think about it. Like everyone has their vices, like their poison of choice. Like he doesn't collect the Regal Robot stuff.
No, you're right.
Yeah, all the RS helmets and stuff. So yeah.
Like everyone has their niche, and for him, it's choice for sure.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
This is the one Stacey's talking about.
Yeah, this is cool.
So this is available till Sunday at midnight Eastern Standard Time. I think it's $35. It's 9x5.
Easy peasy.
Which is pretty reasonable. Yeah.
Super.
I'm just glad they're still doing this.
Yeah,
I paste this in my letterbox as if he's like peering through my letterbox.
Oh my god!
Can you imagine?
Imagine the postman coming to put a letter in and things.
Dude, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be funny, right? Flip the little thing about.
Yeah. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And these, for people who collect autographs and stuff, we were talking about plaques earlier. These have been like his whole series has been incredible because they have that white border.
Yeah,
I've seen so many people get these signed by the actors, and
that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool.
That's your thing.
We can also assure you that Jason Edmonton did not steal this idea.
Correctamundo. Yeah.
But no, this is a great piece. I could have sworn he would have done them all by now. So when I saw this, I was like, this is nice. This is good. And usually I don't like a large white border, but these are great because it gives you the room to frame.
Yeah. You can always mat it out if you don't like all that blank space.
That's what I mean. It gives you that extra room to kind of bring it in close and work with it. Because if it's like a full bleed, other than floating it, it'd be kind of difficult to get the full image. But yeah, can't go wrong with the price. Not
that I don't own stock in Bottleneck or Jason Edmonton stuff. They don't pay me. I wish. But like, if you're on the fence, I would say get it because I really love the Vader and Kenobi he did from the Kenobi series, and that was actually with Mondo. And there's a few people who missed out and didn't get them, even though they were timed. You had like 3 days to order them, and they're, I think, 3 times retail. Like you can't find those as a reasonable price. So it's one of those, like, if you're on the fence, probably do it now, because who knows? I think this one might be just as popular. So if you try to get it later, you're not gonna play close to retail for it. I don't think this one, I think, is going to be more popular than the last 2 that they did, the Leia and the Stormtrooper.
It looks very good.
I agree. And for the price, CC's right. For the price, you can't go wrong, right? It's not like this is a $200 print for $35. Like, you hang it, you don't hang it. It's in a portfolio. You don't like it, it can go to somebody. Like, but it's one of those things where if you backtrack and you end up spending, $85, $90 for it, it's just like, you could have just avoided that and got it for cost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. It's nice. It's nice to finally have a print that people can actually still pick up, because they're usually always gone in a second. So
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys. I think that's it for us. We'll jump off, but hopefully we can do this again soon. We need to not wait as long next time. So, and maybe we can get Nathan on, and I'd love to get Rob from RS on again. I know he's busy, but it's it'd be nice to have him on again. But anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. So, Thanks, guys.
Bye.